With the rise of DevOps and Git's stronghold in version control, the manual slog of updating docs has given way to automation. Now, developers can create dynamic documentation straight from their Git history. Here's a guide on how to automate documentation using Azure DevOps Solutions and its Azure Pipelines feature. Prerequisites: a Git repository hosted on platforms like GitHub or Azure repos, an Azure DevOps account connected to this repository, automating documentation with Azure Pipelines. Step 1. Set up your pipeline. In Azure DevOps, select Pipelines from the project menu and click New Pipeline. Pick your code repository's platform in the repository itself. Choose the main branch as the source for your docs. Tailor your pipeline settings, pick the right agent, and decide when this pipeline should run. Add tasks for building the code and another for generating docs. Step 2. Build the code and insert a build task into your pipeline to compile your code. This can be .NET Core, Node.js, Python, and many more. Fine-tune this task to match your project. This might mean different commands or scripts, depending on what you're building. Confirm a successful build before moving on. Step 3. Generate the documentation. Post-build, select a tool like DocVex, tailored for .NET projects, to parse your Git history into documentation. Add a new task in your pipeline for DocVex. Set this up with the correct paths and configurations and let it craft your docs. Step 4. Publish your work. Once your documentation is ready, pick a spot to publish it. This could be Azure Blob Storage, an FTP server, or Azure Pipeline's own artifact storage. Add a publishing task to the pipeline and configure it with the necessary details. Deploy this task and see your documentation go live. Step 5. Make it automatic. To really put your feet up, configure triggers in Azure Pipelines to run your documentation job on autopilot. You can set these to activate on new commits, merges, or even on a schedule. Once set, your documentation updates as your code does, no extra input needed. So, this is a simplified overview for automating Git history documentation with Azure DevOps.